Call meeting order with stand to the pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Speaking of flags, is it okay if I change the one on the common? The other one's looking pretty ratty.
Sure. Do you have one? Usually the American Legion keeps those up. I'm not sure if they have one, or do you have one?
Yeah.
I've asked John here
Oh, you have?
if we could get some because there's some.
Oh, good. Oh, good. So I guess they're coming. I guess
Hopefully.
they're coming, yeah.
It's been a little while, but I'll check back and make sure.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
All right, now hold on to your chairs, everyone.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
If it stays open, it'd be like gigantic.
Just before.
Uncle Joe. Go out and turn the water tower for him.
I don't know about that anything last night.
Try and get a wheel.
It only scares me when it's like 30 below. That's when metal does weird things.
Over 100.
Yeah, over 110.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of February 10th and February 14th.
All in favor? Public comments, communications with citizens. Steve?
Oh yeah, I saw that we hired a new guy for water and sewer. Does he have a license?
We hired a new guy? You mean Carson?
Yeah, I didn't get his name. I saw it in the report.
He's going through training to be licensed, yes.
Certification
Yes.
process, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So I was just wondering, poor Marcel would ever get a break someday soon.
Eventually.
That's about all
Oh,
I
you
got.
got,
Down the flag.
That was great. I'm just here because I heard there might be something mentioned about the sewage system that's at my house.
Huh?
I only need one copy of it. He's got it.
Oh, he's got, perfect, okay. I have a note there, so I have everything.
Whereabouts, Doug?
Pine Street, 45 Street.
what do you got? What do you, go ahead and, now's your time to,
Okay, I just wanted to know what was going on with it. It's been an issue ever since I bought the property way back. It's kind of been up in the air of the village for a long time, who owned it, who didn't own it, who's responsible, who's not, and it's just been a battle ever since I bought the property. Same with the ditch that runs water down, that drains everybody's property across my property. I've been told many stories since I bought the place about who put it in, both the drainage and the septic, and I've never got an answer why. When originally I had an issue with the sewage, the village came in, opened the sewage up on a Thursday. On Friday, they called me and told me I was responsible for fixing it. They took the pump out. I repaired it, and they had a meeting that Friday without telling me, and then it became my responsibility for the pump from there on out, according to that meeting. Well, the other day, I guess there was a water main break up above my house, and the septic still isn't correct totally, because I haven't had the money to finish fixing it the right way, because nothing was put together the first time the right way to start with. And the water was running into my septic, causing my pump to run constantly. And I'm just kind of a little nervous, it put a lot of wear on my pump that I had to pay for. So I'm kind of like, all right, who's responsible for this if my pump goes bad?
so, I'm looking at, some minutes from July 22nd of 2009.
Yep.
It says trustees discussed the pump on Tammy and Doug Drake's property for their sewer. A $45 allowance is given to the Drakes for their electric bill quarterly, and the pump itself is the homeowner's responsibility.
Okay.
So I don't know if that answers any of your questions there. Other than that, if we can, I'll let Marcel maybe try to answer some of those. I personally don't know, I weren't here on the board then. But according to here, like the pump itself is your responsibility.
Okay.
As far as you don't have your own, you have the village septic, you're hooked
Yes.
into the village sewer,
Yep,
and village water.
yep,
And there's just a pump at your residence to
Yes.
pump, to be able
Up
to
to the
get
village.
up to the village, because you're so far probably off the line, or just to get.
I
it.
sit lower than the line is what the
Okay.
issue is.
All right. So you're saying you're having water run off into your sewer,
Yes,
Infiltration.
okay? Where's the water coming from?
coming from the ground and from the ditch that goes across my property.
And the ditch is it your ditch?
It's on my property, the village originally put it in, from what everybody's always told me. The village supposedly used to maintain it, and then I bought the property, nobody maintained it, I've been keeping it up, I dig it out every year by hand.
Is the ditch by the road?
It's off the road a ways. It's right between me and all the neighboring properties. And then I thought it was kind of funny when the village dug out afterwards, like a couple of years after this argument I had, the ditch runs out underneath railroad tracks and around John Pelletier's and around that way, across the road, and they dug that side all out. They maintained that.
That ditch was the old sewer ditch. And it ran down and behind all the way to the river. And at one point, the homeowners that were there, before you got there, the homeowners they wanted to take care of the ditch on their own property. And it was given to the homeowners. And the ditch he's talking about that goes underneath the bridge, we cleaned that out. It was supposed to be the train people to clean it out, but we cleaned that out because you were getting flooded real bad.
Yeah, and really the culvert still ain't been repaired. I can't get nobody to repair the culvert that sits higher than the drainage ditch. So all the water backs up on my property because the culvert's half collapsed underneath railroad tracks, and I can't get nobody to seem to notify
Right, and that's
whose
the railroad?
responsibility it is.
You're talking about the railroad ditch
Yeah, the culvert that goes underneath.
underneath the railroad. That belongs to the railroad.
Yeah,
And the railroad claims it belongs to the town.
well, it can't be, because there's no way the village, municipality won't be allowed to touch the railroad because of the railroad tracks. So if we were to do any work to it, it would have to be with them. Because if we went and did anything to like that culvert and then there was a train derailment because of it, like we would be
Yeah.
responsible, so they wouldn't allow that.
Yeah.
I would be 95% sure that culvert would have to be come from the railroad. And we can try to find that out.
Yeah, we did clean it out. 'Cause
Yeah, they did.
I was in there on my stomach with a shovel cleaning it out because that stuff was so hard. And we did get it all cleaned out, and the railroad came by at the time and said that they could have cleaned it out if we wanted them to. But we didn't know it was theirs.
Yeah. I'm pretty positive you're right,
Yeah.
because we can't touch anything.
Right, because they did tell us that. It was Randy White at the time it was on.
So it sounds like the ditch is your responsibility, according to Marcel from years ago before there. I mean, he's the only one that's been here forever. If we could find it in the minutes, I don't know if you would. You know,
Well, that's like when I asked for an as-built plan for the septic, nobody could come up in this village with an as-built plan for that. And it should have been in the guidelines, in the time frame where you had to have an as-built plan for that septic when I was having the issue. And nobody in the village could seem to come up with it for me.
so as far as the water runoff into the sewer,
I don't see where we do anything much about it. Because I think we did clean it down on by the train.
Yeah, you clean by the tracks, yeah.
Yeah, and not just underneath the tracks, but a little bit further back, and it was flowing pretty good, but that was quite a few years ago.
Yeah, I dig it out every year, I have to do it by hand. It just, because I can't dig a lot, because the culvert sits so high, all I can do is get the sediment out of my ditch, so that the water flow through.
And I believe why the culvert was set that way was because it had been below the water going out into the big culvert. Because water won't run uphill, so I believe that's what it was, why Rainey put it in that way. Rainey Patno had that put in.
Right.
And I believe that was the reason, because you couldn't go any lower, because you couldn't drain it at all.
But if the pipes are sealed properly, how can you get infiltration?
That's the problem, the thing was never put in properly. The pump wasn't even the right pump originally.
So if you've got infiltration, you've got leakage too, then. You've got sewer going out too. If you don't have pressure coming in all the time, when there's pressure inside, it's gonna go out. So you've got a sewer leak as well.
No, because it's got floats that pumps it up to the village as soon as it's got 3 float levels now in there with the pump system I put in. So that as soon as it hits a certain level in the tank, it
It
pumps
turns
it
it
right into
on,
the
so your
village.
pump is constantly
Right,
running.
my pump's
once you
just
get
running
any-
because the water's coming
Right.
into my tank.
Whether you're using consumptive
Right.
water or sewer at
Right.
all. Okay.
Is that Rainey's old house?
Yes.
I don't know, how to help you solve that. I mean, it sounds like the pump itself is yours, I mean, according to here.
Yeah, which back then I disagreed 100%, seeing how it was, the village had power running to it, the village had installed it, the village came and worked on it. I mean, and that there's other buildings around the town identical to it that the village was taking care of.
I can't answer for what the
Yeah.
board did back then.
Okay.
You know.
That's fine, I just was concerned because it's just never been right and settled bad with me ever since I've owned the property here in town. If I could get out of here, I would because of it. Because I think I was treated pretty unfairly in this whole deal.
Not denying that you were. The only thing I can say is, you know, come, you know, this spring, this summer, if you have any issues with the ditch that's running that you say that you clean out, like,
Yeah.
if you come to us, we'll help with our share, you know. We're not gonna try to stick you with everything over there with the work. And we can try to mediate between, with the railroad to try to get the culvert fixed.
Yeah, because like I said, I called the railroad a bunch of times, and they keep saying, well, it's the village's responsibility. And then I talked to the village says it's the railroad. And it's like, I went around and around for almost a year, and then finally I just gave up. I was like, you know.
I can't think of the guy that comes to this area. He's always here doing the maintenance for him. That would be the guy to ask for and have him come right to your site. Because then there'd be no discrepancy on whose culvert it is.
Right.
I've seen him clear up the question we had with the crossing out here and that gate and the
Pretty
sign
sure it's
being.
Eric Trucott.
That's who it is,
It's
yep.
Eric, okay, I know Eric.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, if you know Eric, he's
Yeah,
a very decent, approachable guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so if you just question him, have him come look at it,
yeah.
and,
Oh, he's familiar with it. He's been looked at it several times. I got nowhere, but hey, that's beside the point.
all right, I
It
mean,
seems like that's just been, like I said, ever since I owned the property.
we can throw a phone call
A
out.
combination maybe that just drove me nuts and. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Must be spring, here come the birds.
Not sure if that's, I know I probably didn't come get the answers that you're looking for.
No, I just want to be known that it just, you know, it hasn't settled well with me still, and I just thought I'd throw it out there, because I heard there was a meeting about the similar buildings like it, pump stations, and I figured I'd just put my word out there of what happened in my situation.
So you think if the surface water drained away, you'd be able to seal it and keep your pump from running? You keep the water
It would
from,
definitely help it, yes.
keep the water from
'Cause
going
it-
in?
I mean, I still sometime have to be able to afford to put a new, because they didn't put a cement manhole over it and seal it.
Rain, yeah.
When they built it, they just put a plastic culvert and a cement lid. So there's no way to seal it to keep all the water out without digging it all back up.
Well, so we have a 20-year evaluation that's coming up, like they're gonna be coming, they're doing a site visit of our sewer. So they're gonna be looking at all our pump stations, and I don't know if it could be part of the evaluation, but, so I guess my thought is, if we had them go over and take a look at that pump station, and if it was incorrectly installed, and if by their opinion, if it was on us back then, if it wasn't correct, then maybe we could discuss something further.
Yeah.
If they say,
I appreciate anything.
you know,
Like I said,
if they tell us that it was correctly installed and it's a matter of opinions or whatever, then obviously we'd have to be, you know,
Right.
going by what,
Personally, in my opinion, I don't think anybody should be allowed to property, own that property, period, after I owned it. It's just, it's so wet, it's,
I mean, I've lived here, I was surprised somebody put a house out there.
Yeah.
It's always-
I knew nothing about it when I bought this. And
That's-
ever since I bought it, nothing you guys, I mean, it's a bad piece of property.
I got you.
It's only underwater at high tide.
Yeah.
All right, that's it, we'll talk to the engineers that come and see if they can just quickly take a look at it and see what they have to say, and if we get anything from you, we'll reach out to you.
Okay, that's perfect, thank you.
Okay. So that's, so water sewer.
No, I have public comment, Rich, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry, you didn't wanna wait for,
It hasn't, no, I'm on there for specific reasons,
Okay,
for-
go ahead.
under other business,
All
for
right.
2 items on there. I'm not sure if you were aware of that, but this has nothing to do with other business.
okay,
Other business has to do with the book from last year. My comments have to do with this year's book, and the inaccuracies, once again, that you have published in this. This is an annual report, and it's supposed to be true and accurate, and it's not, once again. And I pointed them out to Terry, and she's well aware of it. I pointed it out to April, and she's well aware of it. What I don't understand is why? Why? We pay for an audit. You sit at this desk and you tell us all year long that you couldn't do certain things, but yet when we get the book, it says you could have done them. You had an extra 10 grand in Summer Street still at the end of the year. Okay? And that may be that you didn't know it was there because we're pulling from Peter to pay Paul, and this emergency or that emergency. But once again, I'll remind the board, the water and sewer rules clearly regulate and give you authority under emergency process to do what it takes to keep the system running. That means not to burden us, but you can go get an emergency loan. A loan that doesn't incapacitate us, that we can pay over time like a bond. Instead of taking expired bond payments and sticking them away into some other fund for a rainy day that already got gobbled up over the last term of you and 2 others before you and 1 other before that. It's no way to operate a budget because it shows that you're not completing the jobs, because you're getting false statements back from whoever's giving you what you have left in reserves. Last year at annual meeting, I brought up the fact we had 2 CDs, excess of $50,000. What are they there for? Emergencies. Certainly not so that we can inflate the budget year after year and keep asking for money to go into a side effects and a little savings account. Every time the fire department's loans have done and they're all due, we've snuck those little payments right into their budget, increasing it year after loan that we as villagers voted to approve to keep them safe. But yet we have a building at the edge of the village here that's burnt to the ground, less than 2 miles from a department that's got over $500,000 in it in less than 10 years, that bills us every time they go out, hourly, to use the village's equipment. But they're volunteers, I'm told, and I don't have a right to look at what they're spending that money on after the chief goes on record saying that that money that they bill us for buys equipment to save us from getting loans, which you approved the loan of $6,000 with the fire chief's wife, which isn't in this book, Rich, is it? Why?
why?
Huh?
The fire chief's wife?
Yeah, Mary Santel was the ex-fire chief, honorary life fire chief here in the village. Of an unchartered fire department, by the way. State has no record of that fire department even being chartered. So I'm not sure where this is all going to end up, but the house of cards is falling down. You can't milk us like Shappett's dairy cows. You make us produce, we produce. You ask us to produce, we produce. The crisis is over. The time to stop milking us is done, but you continue to demand to milk. $34 extra thousand now you want to stash away into some capital reserve fund in the sewer. The sewer and the water department owe the general fund
over $120,000 now. We lost 80 more grand just last year alone between the two departments. What sense, and if these numbers are even believable, because didn't you approve a loan for equipment for the fire department? Which the chief says he doesn't need in here in his letter. He says he's getting equipment free and that the trucks were all good, everything's been repaired, and wants to thank all of us for our support. Is that thanking us? Continually raising their budget? You made a decision to switch $3 grand from the general administration fund and now move that money and increase their budget and then pull it out of their budget to make that payment. But yet in the general administration, it only shows we saved $400. That's not saving us taxpayers a dime. That's cutting our throats. That's every time we've approved a loan that Dave Allen says we needed, turn around and keep in perpetuity at this point, apparently. This is wrong. This is wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong, and these numbers are false. And you can't do this to us. You can't hold next week's meeting and look everybody in the eye. You especially, Rich, been here a whole year. You controlled the board. You controlled us villagers. You wouldn't let me get on the agenda to address these problems. Now we're a year later and finally, I'm on the agenda under other business for 2 items that I wanted for over a year, explained out of last year's book. Why the fire department's budget said one thing, but they spent
Are you
another.
getting into the agenda, or?
No, I'm asking a simple question. Why are these numbers so false? Why isn't that loan number in there?
So,
Why isn't the budget on page...
what I will tell you is, we are not gonna get into the annual report until that meeting night.
Very good,
And-
thank you. You may move on to the next item on agenda. I've said what I've had to say.
Water, sewer, residential sewer pumps?
Oh,
oh, that was for...
The book says
Oh, I didn't know
on
that.
Tuesdays, and this is a Thursday.
Okay. All right, unfinished business, streetlights.
Colleen has most of that information, and it's not here, so we can do that another time.
Do you know what that
This
That
regards?
is the
If they meet on
LED
Tuesday.
lighting.
No,
The estimate on the LED lighting.
no conversations, please.
You know, Troy did LED lighting, remember I said.
Oh, yeah,
there's
yeah.
a metering involved, there's a whole sheet to go over on that, but we.
For costs and...
Yeah, we can do that another night, we can table that for tonight. I don't have all the information, Helene does.
Okay, so that'll be tabled, put on for the next, meeting agenda, April. All
We're
right.
still paying 20 grand a year for streetlights?
New business, nothing, other business.
Yeah,
So,
22,000.
Lydia.
Lydia, again, came in an email, and we aren't gonna have a chance to go through it anyway.
Okay.
We have papers to
That's
look
okay.
at, just preliminary, it's gonna take till about November to get that deeded, but we did get the federal grant money to, they're gonna be able to do everything they want to do again, because everything else it is given to us.
Okay.
So she was happy about that, and I left it right on the desk, but that's okay.
Then,
So next time, actually.
so the Hamlin groundwater monitoring, does that just have to do with like get the residents' approvals?
Yeah, I don't know a lot about that.
So,
Do I-
so from what I read in the last email, I don't know if you have the capability here, but I know you do at your office. So they sent that email out regarding the monitoring of Hamlin property, that they wanna put a couple more, like
Stations or
check
whatever, yeah.
stations.
Mhm.
And they wanted to see if we would help them out, ask the residents if it's okay if they go on their property. So they wanted to make sure that, they have the correct contact information, that kind of stuff for those lots.
Okay.
Can we, do you have that email?
Did I get that email? Or did I? Okay, probably did.
Can-
then.
can
It
we
says
just-
in
can
my
we just-
phone.
If we can respond back to them, double check, make sure that the lots are still owned by who they think they are, and then email them back and say that this is the correct contact information.
Yeah.
And then from there, we can either have Carson and Marcel both go down to those residents and say that, this company's gonna be coming down. But tell them, yeah, we'll help them out with whatever that they need. And just let them know if it's the correct contact information or not.
Where can we get the results of those tests? Are they available to the public?
We don't have them.
I don't know. I don't know if you'd have to ask them or not. I mean,
I believe you have to. They're doing all the testing, we don't have no results whatsoever.
Was it DEC, Marcel?
Pardon?
DEC or ANR?
No, it would be the engineering firm that's Stone Engineering, I believe, is the ones that are doing
Stone
it.
Environmental.
Stone Environmental?
Environmental, thanks.
For who? The state? Or through the town?
What do you mean?
State.
I mean, they're monitoring the
It's the
ground
state.
Yeah,
for,
the state. Yeah,
for,
the state.
so it's the state that's doing it,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so I believe there are, like, some of the results were a little high down towards the post office area, so that's why they wanna put an extra couple,
Oh, there's tons of stuff down there.
so.
Good luck with that. Ground was all orange.
All right, so
Super fun.
we are now up to Ray. Again, you're up.
I'm here for for questions. I was here under the agenda for answers to 2 questions. That's what I'm here for, under other business. The inconsistency and the mathematical equation that was listed in last year's book for the fire department and what they spent, what they actually spent, and what the journal said. Did you not get what this meeting was for?
I did not get what you're on the agenda for, no. Now, I understand that you, there's a lot of questions that you want answered that you.
No, I'm on the agenda for 2 items that I specifically requested the answer to on the book from last year with the fire department. Why it said one thing in the book, but yet the journal proved that they spent over what they were given for a budget. I want to know why that is. Why we as villagers were told they went under their budget, but when I did my own personal audit through public records and did the journal entries on the fire department, miraculously, it doesn't matter whether it's 10 cents or not, they were $3.37 over, not 3,000 and some odd below or 2,000 something below. But again, here's the situation. I'm left now to sit here and try and get an answer from 2 trustees that don't have a clue about what the question even was, that I had to get on the agenda back in February for. You've stopped me from being on the agenda 3 times last year alone.
Correct.
Because you don't want to answer these questions, correct?
No.
Then where's the answer, Rich?
For $3.47? I couldn't tell you. I don't have that answer, but if you're gonna. If you're gonna sit here and complain about $3.47,
Is that what I'm complaining about? Is that what you heard me say? When you told me
yeah.
they were 2,000 some odd below their budget, that they saved us that much. But in actuality, they overspent what we allowed them. And you think that's okay as the chairman of the trustees that monitor the budget that you present that you keep lying to us about or can't seem to make. You don't even pay your village bills on time, and I'm expecting you to pay these, our bills?
What I would say is, we have an audit done every single year.
No, you don't do the fire department. They don't audit the fire department. They do not audit the fire department, Rich. Don't lie to me.
Then you're gonna be asked to leave.
Then don't lie to me, because you consistently do
I
that.
am not lying to you, Ray.
You are, right now. We don't audit that fire department.
We're moving on.
No, you're not.
Yes,
You're
we
going
are.
to answer my second question
I'm
I'm
not
on the
gonna sit
agenda
here and be in a
for.
hostile conversation with a village resident. Thank you.
Really? Then you'll answer them under a normal civil conversation, because you've avoided them for over a year. Heather did the same thing with the
Okay.
water and
So we're
sewer
gonna move
rules,
on.
Rich.
What's the other question, quickly? And
No, it's on the agenda.
What is the question, though? We have the agenda, there isn't a question. What
Then
is-
talk to the person that wrote down the
Can you
agenda.
tell us? It'd be quicker,
Yeah,
because he's
'cause-
leaving, he has a meeting.
It has to
so-
do with the fire department. He's got a half hour left.
I know he does, but I'm saying.
And
for
you've
him to
already
get
reached
it,
the end of your agenda, because he went over me before he even started this, when I'm one on the other business.
Because we are giving you the time, but if I.
No,
but
you're
we are
not giving me
We
the
are not
time.
gonna raise our voices having a hostile conversation, Ray. If
Then
you can't have a
why
civil
am I
conversation,
here
then we're not
on the
gonna talk.
agenda for 2 questions that were specifically put off for over a year, and you can't even tell me now what the questions are? I waited over a year. I
certainly don't
specifically
know,
asked
because
these
it was
questions.
Before I got here, so why don't you just give us?
You were put on the
questions?
agenda last month for this month. For Ray Hamel wants to be on the agenda. That is what we saw, you were on the agenda. So you come here with your questions, we will try to answer your questions.
Question 2.
It doesn't matter. They're not gonna be able to answer it.
No,
It's
yes, it
mute,
does.
it's moot, it's moot. There is no other question. You blew it. You've blown it. Again, this book proves you have no control or idea. Terry, shake your head.
No, why can't you ask the second question? I mean,
Why are we increasing the fire department's line budget for equipment? I've asked it over and over again, Terry. You were here, you've heard me ask it. And then you went and voted to approve that budget. Yeah, you tell me you had a lot of questions. What did they do? We don't even have a qualified fire department, do we, Terry?
What about the insurance? Where's that coming from?
It's
So-
coming out, I explained how that happened.
Discussing the book, but
No, I mean, this is last year's
So he's
book.
talking about 2018.
2018 book.
Correct.
Okay.
The book tells us one thing, and again, it's the same thing's gonna happen again this year.
So-
And he's telling me, let's do it at the annual meeting. I didn't purposely
If-
come to any of the budget meetings because I didn't want to do this.
Can you let me answer? If I remember right, if we went to go back to the 2018 budget book with the fire department, there was 2 line items for equipment, like an equipment fund, an equipment gear, like
Yes,
2
and
line
we
items.
put it
And we
together.
put them together, so it wasn't like we raised the money. I don't believe the fire department has raised their allocation, like, in a couple of years.
Oh, is that what you think? So when the fire department pays off its last truck loan, where did that distinguish out and extinguish from the budget in their loan payment?
So again, the fire department's budget, okay, that loan payment was in that budget. So the budget from 2018 was 30,103, and the actual was 28,804.
Was it?
You mean-
And you want to be certain on that. That's what you want to do after I just put out to you that I ran that journal. Which, just to be clear, does the auditor and you go over there and audit the fire department other than the funds that you have written out off of the journal? Does he even audit the fire department's journal?
He
There is-
sure does right here.
This is right here.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So why was that discrepancy? If that's the case, why, when I added up the journal last year and you saw the math and you did that math with me, why did the book reflect one number and yet the auditor said that was not everything's fine?
That honestly, I don't know.
But tell me, if, I'm just thinking about, if it should have been booked to a different year, if it should have been booked ahead, was there any of those line items that you could have gotten where you paid it in December, but it was for January?
And let me ask,
Here at that
You
time.
weren't here,
But
exactly.
it could
each
be.
one of these loans in the long-term debt for the fire department, when they came due and the payment stopped running, it stayed in their budget.
Yep.
We increased the budget to make the loan payment. The loan is finally paid off and we don't decrease the budget again. We just let them continue to have those funds.
I don't,
I do. I can go back 10 years and show you where it happened after each loan.
so for,
We had a $72,000 loan in 2012 for the fire truck, for the fire department.
Yep.
That matured in 2017. That payment stayed in the fire department's budget in 2018 and again in 2019. So we as villagers,
you're right.
For a year, correct?
No, he's right.
so we increased their budget.
No, the budget was increased in what, 2000, whatever you said?
2012 to make payments for that
Okay.
loan.
Right,
The
so
loan's all done.
2012. So
The
you're absolutely.
loan's all done now, and we paid for that equipment.
So-
now in
Ray, are
perpetuity,
you gonna let me answer?
go ahead, I can see what the answer is.
Okay, then you know the answer. We raised the budget in 2012 to pay for the fire truck.
Yeah,
So, right, so then then when you get to 2018, you're right. The budget never increased, the budget never decreased.
right, so the payment stopped though.
Correct.
You no longer have that payment, why do you need that money in the fire department?
Because the fire department needs the money
For what?
for gear and equipment.
What gear and what equipment? We pay for it all through loans.
And you pay for it through the budget. That is what the fire department pays their expenses
Then
for,
why
is
are they
through the
keeping that
budget.
other money for equipment and gear? If we pay for it through
Because
loans.
we can't go every 10, 15 years.
Dave
without
Allen
buying-
says he doesn't need any gear. He got it for free.
Yeah,
Then you went and got an...
SCBA's, Ray.
Okay, so you
There's
went and
more
got
gear
another-
than just one part.
Then explain why after the village meeting you went and got another $6,000 loan.
For gear, Ray.
You have a line item for it,
Do you think everything
$20,000.
stays the same price? If you went and bought a loaf of bread in
25,000
1930, do you think you can get a loaf of bread now for 30 cents?
No, I don't, but the
Okay.
town's doing it at their level for half that budget, Rich. Tell me how they're doing that. They're
Who
making
is?
their loan, the town. Well, you're an association with.
And also, the town gets another $24,000 from the town of Westfield to pay for the same fire department. So if you want to put apples to apples, they get $50,000 a year to run their fire department, which is just maybe a little bit bigger size than ours.
Not through my tax dollars, they don't.
Wait a minute.
But it doesn't matter what the tax dollars is.
I don't see that as
the
offsetting
same
revenue
fire
in the town
department.
book.
Yeah, it's not in the town
Doesn't
book.
have-
It doesn't have to be, they're contracted from another town, it's in their town book. But if you want to put apples to apples,
They're
look at
contracted
apples
through
to
our
apples.
town.
They're contracted for Westfield.
They're
and
chartered
Troy.
through Troy.
They are a separate entity. They are a separate entity.
Oh my God, they're multi-taxing us
West,
No.
on a non-entity.
for Westfield?
If they're not a part of the town, then why are you taxing me under municipal tax form? You just said they weren't part of our
They
town.
are asking for an appropriation as every other
So like,
company
But
that
this
asks for
department isn't.
appropriation.
so like
This department isn't asking for an appropriation from us, are they, Terry?
the town gives the village fire department money
From us.
from us. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, the
And
town.
that was the second
Wait a minute,
question,
wait a minute,
if
wait
you
a
wanna
minute.
answer that now.
The town gives the village fire department money, so we're getting money, the town fire department is getting money from the Westfield's budget.
Yeah.
And they list that as offsetting revenue where in the town?
No, they don't have to. They don't have to report anything that their fire department does to the town.
It's like a
Because
contract.
it's
Where's
separate
ours?
from the town.
Where's ours
The
from the fire
village
department here then?
is the
That's an
North
offsetting
Troy
revenue.
Fire Department is a village entity,
Yeah,
and therefore it's in the book. They are a private, nonprofit. They're,
Nonprofit.
It's
Well, yeah.
registered with the Secretary of State site.
Troy or
that
Westfield?
Troy.
Troy, yeah, they're
Who
registered.
services Troy and Westfield.
Yeah.
Westfield pays them the same.
Yeah.
Troy pays them the same.
Yes, ma'am.
We do not have to see any more than we ask for anybody else to give us financial information. We do not require it. Every year he does a report in the thing, but we do not have a right to see their checkbook.
But you're,
Wow.
But-
Open record.
The
But they-
voters vote on that budget and approve it.
okay, but here's the thing with the Secretary of State, we can find the founding documents for the Troy Fire Department. We can't find anything for the North Troy Fire Department except for a hook and ladder, and then nothing
Because
after World War II.
And that's what it.
Nothing about a volunteer fire department, nothing about being an association, nothing about anything, yet we give them money, but we can't look at their books.
And again,
It doesn't seem right.
you wanna know what that second question
You
has to
see
do?
their
It
book
has
right
to
here.
do with this
is the
book,
fire
and you
department
telling me
books, right here.
that that
I mean,
$5,000 is offsetting revenue when it comes from us as taxpayers. Me. So how does that math work? When I get billed from the town and you give it back to the village and it's me paying it. So it's supposed to offset that
Everybody
revenue?
within the town of Troy is responsible for the appropriations.
But you're
for the
saying
town.
that the offsetting revenue to this fire department
Comes
saves
from
me as a
us
taxpayer. It doesn't.
Yep, well, it does.
How?
In
It's
our
my money.
taxes, in our town taxes, yeah, but it comes from a different source. A check is written, so there is an additional $5,000 yearly
To who?
put into the fire department.
So the fire department has that money. Not me.
No, the village of North Troy has that.
It's for
money.
firefighting, that's what that money was
And it-
donated for.
and
And you
it's-
pass a budget for the fire department, right, Terry? Well, you're gonna pass that budget, and that's the fire department's money.
Mm-hmm.
They can spend it, just like they did last year, but nobody wants to tell us the truth about how much they spent.
But the difference, Ray, is when we come to actually collect the actual figure that we figure taxes on, based on everybody's grand list value, when we put in the budget for the fire department, we minus the $5,000 from that figure.
From
and
which figure?
From the
When we take a,
total figure,
hold on now, when
basically.
we make a vote during the village annual meeting,
That's
it is a
correct.
vote based on before offsetting revenue, giving
That's
you clear
exactly
purchase
right.
power.
And that's why I say, when we turn around and figure the tax rate, we are not figuring the tax rate on what is asked that year of $222,399. We are looking at the offsetting revenue.
What page did you find that off of, Terry?
Are you in last year's or this year's?
I'm in this year's, one you're holding.
Okay, so it's not gonna be there, it's gonna be in last year's, let me see what it looks like in this one.
Does Westfield, do they have a volunteer fire department or a firehouse or anything over there?
No, Westfield uses Troy.
I didn't think so. Yeah.
Westfield contracts.
Troy,
Fire.
Troy goes to all fires and pays as much as we do for fire.
Do they pay Lowell too?
Pardon me?
Do they pay Lowell too?
No,
No,
Lowell has
Lowell
their own.
has their own.
Yeah, no, but I mean, does Westfield give the town of Lowell money?
No,
No.
Troy covers it.
Thank you.
I'm looking quick comparing the two, and I'm not seeing it right off the top of my head, but it doesn't mean it's not there. But what happens is,
So if
the
it was there,
figure
it'd be there.
that is put, that we vote on at town meeting, it's the same way at town meeting, village meeting. The amount that needs to be raised, when the rate is figured before tax bills are
Page 60
sent,
on this year's
we
book would be
minus
that too.
out the offsetting revenues, the anticipated revenues are
That's not what
minus
the
out.
vote carries during the meeting for. It's before, it's for the 228,164. On page 16, it would be that figure that you're gonna propose that budget on, because it's clearly on page 6 as well, what you're gonna propose this year, or have somebody make a motion to vote from the fire department
You're
on.
still in this year's. So you're in this year's, on what page?
On page 6 is what you're gonna propose, item number 10.
That's
The
correct.
228,164.
164.
Now, if you turn to page 16, where is that line item? It's in the proposed budget under total expenditures before,
Offsetting revenues.
which is that $5,000 from the town of Troy to the village of Troy, part of that number, right there in total, 36,500.
That is correct.
Right,
And what
so if
we
you're
do
approved,
is we do, the tax rate is figured based on the grand list on the total after revenues, on the 192,
where is,
009.
then why aren't we making a motion to pass that
Because
during the
you do
annual
not.
meeting vote?
You do not.
Why?
You make a motion on the total expenses for the year.
Right, and you know why, don't you, Terry? You wanna tell me why?
No, you wanna tell me
Because you
why?
can't depend on offsetting revenue.
Absolutely, but that 5,000 is a guaranteed offsetting
Well,
revenue.
yeah, it's already been passed by us as voters out of
right.
our pockets.
That's
So
correct.
it's not offsetting truthful revenue. Just like you switched the summer streets and the summer streets into a one-line item now for streets. And you've hidden a few costs there that, you know, you either have the money or you don't have the money, Rich. And when you, well,
How are we
no.
hiding money,
You
Rick?
went- well, it's-
Jeez,
when you
bro,
take
We try to make it
34,000
simple from 2 to 1, because it's all streets. Like one budget instead of 2 budgets. Like, how are we hiding money? We strictly,
Well,
simply
okay,
looked
let me
at it and
ask
said,
you this, Rick.
5,000 to here, 5,000
Let
to
me,
here.
where'd the other 10 grand go from summer streets then?
It used to be easier to break down
Right.
by season.
You made your comment, you got sarcastic about it, back your strength up now.
No, so we are
Where
not
did
gonna
the
discuss the
10
annual
grand-
meeting, right? We're not
Where
gonna discuss that, because if you have that great question, somebody else might have that great question. So we'll answer the great question one night, and that's at the annual meeting. So bring it then.
But this has to do with that second question, with the offsetting revenue. You're saying it's not there, but it is, and that you've done this,
So-
so it shows it.
Okay,
But-
so I thought you were talking about 2018. If you're talking about 2019's budget as far as this
I'm
annual
talking
report for the
under
offsetting
the other
revenue,
budget item,
we're-
you wanted the second question on. How is that offsetting revenue?
Okay.
It's not, it's
So-
our tax
so
dollars.
here's my
going
answer
to
to
the
that.
state.
So
So
we'll
do you
discuss
want us
that.
to not put, I'm sorry, do you want us to not put it, and then you say, where the hell's the $5,000?
Well, you know, when I look at the
You know?
audit, you know what it says they spent in the fire department for emergency funds? Not what the book is saying, but when you add that $5,000, it says the fire department spent it.
Of course they did.
So how
They
did that
did.
save me,
Because they spent the 5,000.
plus their budget? That's my point, and neither one of you are getting it. Go back through the journal last year. He thinks it's a joke. They went over by $3. They're saying they saved us $3,000. And you approved it, Rich. And then you went and got another loan when you raised their budget already.
Thank you, we know that.
You took safety out of the village. You threw the sheriff out of here.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, you did. You
The
canceled
sheriff
his
department is still
contract.
here.
No, that's
Through the
fine with
town,
me. They
through the
can-
town.
Exactly, so
And
we're
we're-
saving $5,000, but still getting the same coverage.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
You're lying to me again.
It'd be fine if they didn't.
We're not getting the same coverage, you're right, zero coverage.
All right, we're moving on.
But
To
the,
what?
but the CDs, how come we've got a
So
couple?
agenda items, date of next meeting.
We've got 2 CDs. Why don't we list them as, what do you call it,
We're moving on. You
Like
can
a-
ask that question at the annual meeting.
like a rainy day fund?
So we need to
Oh, that
schedule
was
a
the
meeting
question,
with
is that being
October.
held on the schedule that it's in the book under? Or we have another day for that? Is that a Thursday, supposed to be Tuesday?
We're just
like
scheduling a
today?
meeting with their, oh,
Yes, and so what time?
Moving on?
Moving on.
that's what I said.
Yeah, to what day?
We're gonna discuss that.
To what day is the annual meeting? I mean, the book says one thing, I was supposed to meet on a Tuesday, here it's Thursday. What day is the annual meeting on now?
So we
A
need to
Thursday
schedule
or
a
a
meeting with their
Tuesday?
quote.
Yes, so.
Right? You get why you're.
Can you just stop interrupting?
I'm not interrupting.
Yes,
I'm
you
talking
are.
to somebody else, you're interrupting.
You can't have a conversation in the public area.
You don't wanna
about
have a
where we're gonna
conversation.
be.
You
So
don't
just
wanna
shut
have a
up.
conversation.
So
That's my point. Pray all you want, you unreligious fool.
Just
or maybe
whisper if
7,
you've got something to
Or
say.
any time in the morning, because I said you don't get here, would 8 work some mornings?
Tuesday morning?
No,
Oh, any morning.
Any morning.
Oh.
He said pick a couple dates and they'll work around them. And it, you know,
I mean,
doesn't
if he's-
matter.
If he's flexible in the morning, I mean, there's some, on most
Tired.
mornings I'm
Yeah,
free.
kicked out of this.
Yeah, so most mornings I could be here for 8
Or
o'clock,
Orleans, because he
regardless,
breaks laws, shoots
depending if I
deer
get
illegally.
a call.
Violence
from
keeps us
somebody.
right.
Right.
Uh,
Working on
I
a
was just
lawsuit
thinking,
against-
What week was
it
he
doesn't
looking?
take any time, like we did ours this week, so, you know, next week, week after, if possible, and,
So
we
what's
took an
the-
hour and a half.
The meeting, are we gonna meet on
So I
this
mean, I
day?
can do,
Yeah, we didn't take that long last year. It was
No.
Mary and I.
Okay,
I could do Monday, Tuesday, like 16th,
Yeah.
17th, and 20th,
Book says one thing, it should then go Tuesday.
16th is what day?
Monday.
Shut up.
Monday.
I could do that Monday, Tuesday, or Friday morning.
Tired.
Actually, Monday,
March
Tuesday,
19th.
Wednesday, or Friday
Call the cop
morning.
on me one day.
The only-
Cops come here with guns.
The iffy day would be Thursday, the 19th.
Idiot. But they didn't.
So you're
No, they
this
wouldn't
next
come.
week,
They know better.
Monday, Tuesday,
They don't wanna
Wednesday, or
violate
Friday
somebody's
morning
rights.
of this next week.
Yeah.
They don't
And
lose their
they-
qualified.
Okay, I have appointments here and there for my mother and stuff. I've gotta see which day it works, so can I look at my
Yeah.
calendar and then
Yeah.
get with you, is that okay? Your anytime's okay, and I'll ask Lee this weekend and get back to you if that works. Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah.
I should have brought the damn calendar.
Even the other court behind on their bills.
Ray, will you shut your mouth?
I can
If
talk
you
whatever I
wanna
want.
get personal,
You wanna go out
then you
here,
can leave.
Sport? We'll go out. We'll go out right now. We'll discuss this outside.
I'm not gonna discuss nothing.
Then don't talk to me. I'm
This
talking
is
to
my
anybody I
meeting.
want in here. I was
This is
talking in a
our
long
meeting.
conversation. Have your damn meeting, Rich. I don't care. You don't
This
want
is
any part
our
of it?
meeting.
I don't care.
You're
I can
absolutely
talk to
right.
whoever I want at this public meeting.
Wait a
This
minute.
is for us, the villagers.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it
You're here to
isn't.
do our business.
And we are here
With my
to do
money,
it,
you
not
tax
you.
me on, you
Not
tyrant.
You're
So
not
talk
part
to
of the
yourselves and stop talking to me and interrupting me.
Oh, my God.
Speaking of which, do we have a next meeting date? Right though.
Oh. Some days,
Really, you're not worth it.
Do we have,
apparently
You're a
I am,
tyrant.
because you love to just try to talk about me.
You're a tyrant, fool.
do we have a next meeting date? Or
Yes, we are on the 17th at 6
what day of the week is that?
o'clock. That's Tuesday. It's our annual meeting.
Okay, so there's no trustees meeting between now and then?
No.
So it's not the March 19th?
No, the book's wrong again. It's Tuesday, March 19th in the book, but he wants to come on.
Wait a minute.
How can it be Tuesday, March 19th?
I don't know, the book says
That's
that.
what the book says. I don't have a calendar in front of me.
What do you want?
Oh, let's do that.
No, it says March 17th. It's last year's, was the 19th.
Darn it, you were wrong.
And it's at 7.
Wait a minute, all right, March 17th. And that's a Tuesday.
Thing between you and me is I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. You just want to ignore when you're wrong and continue to break the law.
No, I just like to ignore
Last one
ignorance.
was on the 19th.
Well, good luck with that. You'll
I know.
spend your whole life being that way then, you fool.
No, it's not.
Not listening to your own
Involvement and
mind.
calling for crying out loud. Tuesday, the 17th. Correct.
Are you scheduling a next regular meeting?
No, we can do that after, to see if we have, new trustees or.
You getting rid of this?
What's that?
You getting rid of this?
Speed trance,
Too
I
much
think
fun.
we'll get that speed bump in front of my place.
No, we won't be eligible for any money when I report they're not keeping up to DOT standards. The grant money goes. That's why he didn't do Pine Street. He wanted to tear it up.
You know, they don't pay attention to the Jake break sign either. I wonder if they can't read or if they just don't wanna use it. I'm confused. Do you need a literacy test for a CDL?
Probably.
Or just a whiz test?
Are you doing journal entries, orders?
Yes.
I don't see them listed here on the agenda. Is there a reason the financial reports and the amounts aren't listed?
They're,
The
they never
amounts
are.
don't get listed until the notes,
Right.
until after they've been signed, and I
Oh,
put it
for
in
the
notes.
minutes that they
For the
approve it
minutes.
next time.
Yep.
Thank you. I mean, I know things come up surprise like April, but would it be untenable to like, to list them like we used to?
What do you mean?
We used to list the orders of what they were for and how much
On the agenda?
on the agendas, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
I mean, you don't have to, but
I'll just request a copy of everything that's on, that's all, every week. Anything is public record that they're working on, that shouldn't have to be.
it was more like a courtesy, that's all.
And just save us from having to request the records, that's all, and then wasting the money in the paper. Because again, like with the budget.
The
when we
whole thing
signed
is on the
service
agenda,
orders and whatnot,
when she
so-
does the agenda 3 days or however many days before, if she gets bills in after the agenda, she's paying bills, she might do bills the day before, so she doesn't have all those warrants written, do you? You
I
don't
usually
know.
I usually do the bills the day of the meeting, so I can get everything ready.
Have everything to date, so it wouldn't be there anyway.
Yeah,
I
that's
know
why I
that's how
said,
I would do it, I'm just going by what I would do.
that's why I said some things comes up, some surprise like, but most things are known in advance, that's all.
The only thing that I would have on there is payroll,
It is steady, yeah.
that I would know on the agenda. The bills themselves, I don't do until the morning of the meeting, so, the agenda would already be out prior to that, so I wouldn't have it on there.
Well, the agenda's like, you print them up like a week before the meeting or something?
I put them up on usually Friday morning, if the meeting's on Tuesday.
On a Tuesday? Great, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, then, don't be late for work, Rich.
I will.
Oh! I don't wanna catch you speeding.
Right there, 40 grand, public safety, and that's a combination of the constable and the fire department, and gate. That's the auditor.
Do we have a phone number for the dog officer now?
Well, you'd have to ask.
Anything to talk about, do you have anything to, before while he's talking, writing quickly, he could,
Joe,
We can get it good.
yeah, good.
paid for four-wheelers to respond to
We're starting
when they're
to use
22
it now.
or less.
Yeah. Awesome. Good. You don't have anything, Brady, you just got what you were.
So we can leave then? Go on. No, oh,
He's leaving too in about
We're
30
done in about
seconds.
30 seconds, yeah, you're good.
Is that truck over there right or no?
Jerry, that line item for the fire department, you said that was for their fire trucks, right?
Line item for what?
Their insurance was for their fire trucks, correct? That's what that insurance covered?
Insurance on anything, that,
It's our total fire department insurance coverage.
right, total fire department insurance.
It could be guys, gear, trucks,
Right.
four-wheelers, personal stuff, cars, unmarked, unlighted.
No, wait a minute,
No
doesn't,
plate.
aren't we covered by the
Those are covered like
VLTC?
that, right,
We
Rich?
are.
No,
Then why would you respond to a fire with them?
Wait a minute.
So
As
his
a fire department
question,
here as a
what
village.
was done was, the way I do it at my town level, it didn't even have to happen, but I felt that it should, is, I realize that this village is different from the town, but when I pay insurance, VLCT insurance for the town, I book so much to sewer, so much to water, so much to this, so much to that. So
Yep.
when I saw this one, the insurance, I questioned, where's the line item for the insurance for the fire department? And they said, it's just paid out of the general fund, which is fine, because the line item is a total insurance for the year for VLCT, it's approved, it's paid. But what I said, why don't we put it in the fire department, because technically it's a fire department expense, which they agreed, didn't have to be done, myself, that's the way I do it at the town, don't matter. But, so I took the $3,335 off the insurance line item
Yep.
for the general fund and put it into the fire department. However, in the general fund, a couple of things went up beyond our control. The biggest one is our computer, our coverage, online, on-site coverage for anything went from 2,100 to 5,000. Everybody in the state of Vermont that uses NEMRIC, which is 85% of the people in Vermont.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you've got 2,800. So the 3,335 gets soaked up in the 2,800. So it looks like we've only spent $435 more in the budget, because those two items are buried. And we didn't do it to bury what looks like the insurance.
Nobody said that. You've increased their budget though.
No, not technically.
Well, no, not technically, but you didn't save us any money by switching it
Terry,
around.
Didn't save you any money,
No,
didn't
no.
earn you any.
It's
didn't
just like
cost
we
you
give
anything.
money for a loan and we're expected to continually pay it like a milking cow.
But do
The
we,
loan's all done, but they
Motion to
continue.
adjourn.
do we,
Crazy.
do we
The milking
anticipate,
cow crop.
do we anticipate a change in,
Can't save
say,
your
like
own
the
house.
insurance for water and
Save your
sewer
own
vehicles
bill.
or anything like that in the future? Or is everything else gonna stay under that insurance umbrella?
After it was done, I mean, it could go back the other way. At this point, I wouldn't care. Because I'm used to putting it that way, I just hit it to book it to the right
Yeah.
account, but
it's-
it doesn't matter.
it's gonna come out of
It doesn't
the
matter.
general
It's
fund.
gotta be paid. We're all paying for it.
The water and sewer comes out of the water and sewer.
Yes,
It
the
doesn't
water
come
and
out of the
sewer
general.
does come out of water and sewer because
And I think
they're
before
a
we moved,
self-funded company, operation.
Not everyone in the village is hooked up, yeah.
That's right,
and
so
I
that's.
think before we moved, like when we were at the old fire station, I think it used to be broke down like that anyway.
Was it? Okay.
Like, because of the heating and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then when you got into the one building, they kind of,
It's all one, and it really, the more I think about it, it doesn't matter, but it's not a full town expense, it's for the fire department, just earmarks it,
What-
is all it does.
With the NIMRIC insurance, I saw that one town had been like,
Yeah, so like I said,
somebody had swiped, money, and I know that we got held hostage, somebody locked up our computers at the TV studio, and we had to pay them, I don't know, like $1,500, it wasn't that much. I mean, is that the same kind of thing?
It is, any problems, we have it all. We call them, they fix it, they come, if if her or I was to get sick and no one could come and do our payroll, they come in, they do your payroll, they do an automatic backup every night,
And it
off-site to them.
And it prevents the hostage taking
The
and the,
whole business, yes, it's certainly worth it. And they had not gone up in years and years and years, and it was a tremendous jump for a lot of us small towns, but
yeah,
it was time, it really was time.
yeah.
The state just renewed their contract, like anything else, every so many years, they look at it, and bunch of different companies, I was scared to
Yeah,
death,
throw it out
you
there.
were aware of it, but they were looking at all kinds of new programs, and gonna maybe switch, and we're like, oh my God, but it ended up that this one came through, as cheap as any of them, and so we were able to.
Yeah, they, I guess they've come up with software, antiviral software and stuff like that. But we got stuck up. And I don't think we had to pay in Bitcoin, but we had to like send money to, I don't know, some weird offshore bank
The crypto
account.
virus.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh yes, yep. And you wanna know something about that? I got that in my office, and I called Nemrick, and Nemrick said, I know a guy from, I believe it was from Norwich.
I just wanted to know what happened.
yeah, that's where they got slammed.
But they ended up finding, they ended up helping me and get me out of it. A guy was in a seminar in St. Louis, and he called during his break, and three-way conversation between him and Nemrick, and I didn't have to pay a dime. They were able to unlock me and save all the stuff. It was pretty neat, actually.